Going a little bit crazy with the tape, doing whatever it takes to get a nice tight lamination. Even got a couple blocks of balsa up here. Pull them 2 layers down the front, add a little bit of a gap. This is not glued to the hatch cover yet. Just building this lamination, getting it to hold the shape. Plans call for 4 layers of 1/4 inch balsa. I have 5mm balsa, which is 196 thou thick, so 5 layers gets me my 1 inch tall stack. I am gluing together the wing and the fins, and in order to do that accurately, I have the boat set up in the right attitude that it'll be in the water. To do that, it's setting on the sponsons, and I cut out a 1/2 inch block of balsa. If you look on the 3 view for the 1/16 scale, that's what that drawing is. They're calling out 630 thou. This is a 1/20th model, so 1/20th is 80% of 1/16. So this dimension, 80% of 630 thou would be 1/2 inch, 500 thou. So I have it blocked up in the right attitude that it will be doing on the water. I'm also trying to mount this in a scale fashion. There's some overhang here on the fins. Here and here, it's hanging off the back, and it is set inside a little ways from these fins here. And the wing is mounted flush on the front, and it's hanging off the back. If you look at this screenshot here of the real one, where I have the 2 red arrows with the dimension mark, that's this wing hanging off the back of the fins. The 2 red circles, you can see how the fins are overhanging the transom, and they have these, looks like brackets underneath. And if you look at where the red arrow is pointing to, there's a bit of a space between this fin, this little fin here, and the vertical fin. So now that it's set up in the correct ride attitude, and I got my wing and fin set up with nice scale appearance. Here's how I got the wing level. This is just a dimension where, just for scale appearance, how far down I drop the wing in the fins. So I just put this piece of tape on my sanding block. It's a nice square piece of aluminum, and I'm just using this pointer in order to glue this on accurately. And I've also came around this side, so I'm going by the center line of the wing, the layer of carbon fiber. I very accurately glued it using this pointer so that the wing is sitting level to the right attitude. I've also set these angles here to the vertical fins, and it looks to me like on the 1-to-1, these vertical fins are perpendicular to the front deck. If you look at the slope of the front deck, they're looking like they're perpendicular or square to the front deck. And then, so I've kind of eyeballed this angle, and then to confirm that the angle is the same on both sides, I'm looking at this gap right here that I have right here. Checking that on both sides. So just come in to where it's just touching up here on the vertical fin, eyeballing that gap right there. So yes, I'm fussing, but I want it scale and accurate. And when I stand off and look at it, it looks a lot like the 1-to-1 Atlas Van Lines Unlimited Hydro, whereas looking at the fin, the vertical fins, and the wing. So this is what I mean. If you look, this top deck, that looks like it's vertical in relation to the sheeting on the sponsons. I've pulled the stack of balsa for the cowling off. Did a little bit of sanding in here with this block. And now it's looking like it lines up right there, centered up. Looking like I have a beautiful fit. I roughed the cowling in with a nice sharp knife. And if you think about it, to rough it down, but to maintain the shape, keep it symmetrical, all you have to do is follow this edge on the top piece and this edge on the bottom piece. All of these are cross sections of this cowling shape. So I'm going to lose the top contour because I'm going to cut to the bottom of this piece, the contour on the bottom of this piece. The whole side has to be tapered. And so I'm following the contour of the bottom piece, this edge, and the contour of the top piece, and just shaping it. So I'll sand the corners and continue to final shape it with a sanding block, but same way with this back angle. Right there is the original corner of this contour, that cross section, and I'm almost down to the bottom corner. Same with the front. So nice and symmetrical, roughed in with a pocket knife. You could do it with a plane, but I prefer the control and the feel of a pocket knife.
Jim had designed a brand new boat for Atlas Van Line to me. It's a cab-over model, which means that the driver sits right up front ahead of the engine. For years, I had been one of the most vocal critics of the cab-over design for hydroplanes. I honestly felt that a driver sitting in the bow just wouldn't have the control over his craft that he had driving in the stern. After almost 30 years of sitting behind the engine, I felt absolutely naked the first time I perched myself in the cockpit of the new design. And I'll have to admit, the first couple of times out in the new craft almost convinced me that I should maybe stay with the kind of boat that I was used to. But once I got my bearings straight, once I learned to master the Thunderboat and not let it master me, and once I could feel that the boat was an extension of me and I was comfortable with it and seemingly wearing it better and better, I became sold on the design and the possibilities of maybe even winning a race or two in it. So, with one carefully thought-out decision, I broke every rule in the book. I caged my horses in the middle of the stream. I withdrew my bet on a sure thing and played the long shot. It was the biggest gamble I'd ever taken.